Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to Tool Show with me, Master Dan, the Journeyman shooter. And we're doing one of our weekly coffee time segments here, and I know it's kind of turned into a lot more than weekly, but that's what it is. Sometimes you just gotta kind of make the most out of it and do what you got while you're there. And as you can see behind me, I've got my Tool Show Tacoma sitting there, the Tool Show all beef taco, and that's my truck. And that's one thing I take pride in, because I remember I had a journeyman one time who was talking about basically whatever you do, you got to take pride in it, and you got to make sure that you're doing it proper. And it's tough because sometimes you don't have the money to do all that kind of stuff, but that's why you work hard and you invest it in stuff that you really care about, and like a nice vehicle or like something that you take a lot of pride in there, because that's my baby back there. And instead of having a child, I decided to get a truck, and it worked out for me pretty well. So that's about it. And I'm up here in Crescent Heights again here, beautiful area, just kind of checking out the city, and I figured, what should I talk to everybody about here during our little coffee time segment today? And lately I've been kind of thinking about it. I've been watching on the news, there's a lot of stuff going on with, especially there's a lot of just unrest and trouble all over the place, and you don't want to kind of bring any more of that on yourself. So one thing you can do is, especially with your nice vehicle over there, so when you've got your own little like show truck or whatever you want to do with it, that's one thing you got to do, is take pride in it. But also you have to keep it up to date, because you don't want to be riding dirty, because if they see you rolling, they're going to be hating, and that's it. They're patrolling, trying to catch you riding dirty. So you want to make sure that your truck is, or your car, whatever you got. If you have a van, you could have a, I don't know, whatever you got, anything. My dad used to drive a hearse, I think, so you could have any kind of car. I even seen one down not far from here. So there's lots of different vehicles out there, and you want to make sure that you're not riding dirty, because I had a friend, and I remember one time, like, he's a younger guy, and he was an apprentice that we had, and really great kid. And his car was kind of it was a junk box, basically. It had one of those exotic muffler tips on it and all the other funky stuff that goes with it that kind of really draws attention to it. And he's just a young kid, so it's just, you got a big target painted on yourself anyways, because you're speeding around in a junky, rusted out little car with a weird little muffler on it. So that's one thing, you got to make sure that you're not kind of drawing more attention to yourself, even though he wasn't doing anything bad. It's just you're riding dirty, so they're looking for you. And then I remember one day he was driving in, and his front light was out, so it was he had another little check mark against him. And then we found out that his door window wouldn't open up, so he had to swing the door open every time he wanted to come into work or whatever to sign in at the safety check. And that was even worse, because it's like, well, now if a police officer or somebody pulls you over for the headlight, then you swing that door wide open. They have a stressful enough job. They don't know what's coming at them, and any day it could be anything. And especially if that door swings wide open, you're in a little bit of trouble, because you're causing them more stress than they needed, I guess. And that in the States, I know that unstraps the little gun, and then that's just something you don't need. So that's why you want to make sure you keep your vehicle in at least enough order to not getting caught riding dirty, because that's the worst thing, especially if your window won't roll down and you have to swing the door open. You're just causing stress for everybody. And it's our caramel drizzle, and I know you guys have probably heard the joke a million times, but why does Snoop Dogg drink this kind of coffee? Faux drizzle. No, I'm just kidding. That was a classic old one. But that's kind of what I was going at today, is just because, it doesn't matter who you are. There's a lot of stressful jobs out there, and especially with the police and all that, they don't need any more stress on their plate. They're always looking to try to stop something that's dangerous, that's going to affect the public. They're not out to get you, so you just got to go in relaxed. And I know that's one of the most stressful things, is getting pulled over, because I've been pulled over so many times, especially when I was a young kid. It was like there was a target on me. I remember turning I turned right on a yellow light one time, and as soon as I turned the corner, the lights came on, and with all my friends, I got pulled over, gave a big ticket, and just for turning right on a yellow light. It was a legal move, but I don't know, it was just, that's what they decided. And I even said, I was like, I can't turn right on a yellow, and he said, yeah, you can, and he still gave me the ticket. So I don't know, that's what it is. You just got to kind of make the most out of it. Some people are going to be polite, some people are going to be great, some people aren't, and that's, maybe they're having a bad day, maybe they're stressed out. And it's just like the people around you at work. Your coworker could be having a horrible day, and the last thing he wants to do is hear something stupid or something crazy. So you just got to make the most out of it, and that's basically it for the day. And because I know even in the master electrician course, like there was a young guy from Calgary here, and I had a friend that was in the master electrician course, because I'd taken it a few years ago, and my my friend was just taking it last year or a couple years ago, and he ended up getting, there was a guy in his class that was always kind of frustrated, and you could tell there was something wrong. Like the guy maybe had some kind of problem outside of the schooling and outside of work, because you work full time and then you go to schooling at night when you want to get a master's electrical, and then you have to do that for a few months. Then after that you qualify. You have to put in like an application to actually be able to write your master's, and then so once you put in the application to actually be able to write the master's, then they approve you. You pay a little bit of money to get all the information, all the booklets and everything, and then you have to write an 8-hour exam. Basically it's 7 hours altogether, but 8 hours is what you're given basically to write this long exam to pass your master's, and it's every single page of the Canadian Electrical Code, so it's a stressful time. So there was a young guy in this class, and he could tell the guy always just wanted to get out of there, because you're working long days, you just want to go in there, learn what you have to, and go home, and then you rate the test at the end. But the one guy, he was just having a frustrated time, and something was up, and ended up a couple days after he told us this story. But this guy in his class, we ended up he came in and he was a little bit frustrated, and we didn't know what was going on, and he ended up telling me that the poor guy he was shot by the police in our city here. It's a smaller city, so that's a major issue, and the poor guy had a drug problem, and he was at a hotel. He ended up having something in his hand that was medical or something like that, and the police couldn't taser him because he's an electrician. And we've taken so many shocks that's one thing that I know I'm personally used to, just taking shocks. When I was 21 to 23, I think I had a bad twitch in my eye, and it was funny, but it hurt so bad because every night you'd just be twitching, and it was because I'd taken so many electrical shocks at wherever I was. I think it was a museum I was working on, and they couldn't turn off the computers and the servers and all the fans for all the different artifacts and stuff like that, so it had to be protected. Same with the fire alarm system, couldn't be turned off, so it was interesting security, all that kind of stuff, so they always had to have it on, so there's a lot of dangers. And I remember getting so many shocks, but this poor guy, he ended up getting tasered. It didn't work, and then they ended up having to pull their gun because he kept walking forward, and they ended up shooting the poor guy. And he was just looked exactly like me almost, except red hair, and ginger guy, I guess, but that's all right. And I feel kind of bad for him. I know his family's still going through issues over it, and it's just something you don't need. That's why you got to kind of respect those orders. If they tell you to do something, just kind of yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, and be polite and respectful, and it's going to get you somewhere. It's not going to, especially sitting there for very long, you can't sit around and wait and expect them to be relaxed when they open that door, or when they finally do end up pulling you over or something like that. So that's about it. There's not much else I can say besides just kind of being polite and respectful. They have a really dangerous job. You never know what could happen in that industry, and just like every construction in the trades, and you never know what could happen every day, and that's why you want to be respectful. And that goes back to one of our last lessons there, but zoom around and see all the lessons, subscribe to the videos, and enjoy. So for Tool Show, I'm Master Dan, the Journeyman Shooter. Get out there, don't ride dirty, and respect.